Howdy, folks. I'm Black Dragon, and welcome to the Black Dragon Biker News Network. Biker news you can trust. And as always, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in from wherever it is in the world you happen to be as I try to cough all of this out. Black Dragon Biker News Network, Biker News you can trust. We've been at this for 7 years. I'd just like to thank all of our new subscribers and everybody for coming on and watching and viewing us. Hey, listen, if you like this kind of news, biker news, and you like to know about MC Protocol and all those kinds of things that have to do with motorcycle clubs, please give us a like, share, follow, and subscribe. We absolutely appreciate it. Okay, so yesterday was a really tough day for the Bandidos. They are catching it from all sides. They are catching hell from all sides. And, that's what happens when you have this public display and everybody's ticked off and you can't catch any breaks. For instance, they got a couple guys that are facing trial and they have been arrested for things that don't have anything to do with the actual shooting itself. And it seems kind of crazy that you would think that they would be able to get some sort of bail or something, but they've got a new charge that I've never heard before called, I think, unique circumstances. And let me bring up the screen here. You gotta smirk at the irony of it, but this is what happens in court when you can't catch a break because you got a bad reputation or whatever the case may be. Watch this. It's kind of hard to believe.
Contained against you in the charging document and their potential penalties.
A first day in court for two men charged after the deadly weekend shooting in Red River. Two of the three men charged after the shooting at the weekend motorcycle rally facing a judge today.
3 people died. Reporter Andres Valle tells us what makes the charges different.
Yeah, Doug Shelley, right now 2 men police say are members of the Bandidos motorcycle gang are facing multiple charges. However, the cases don't directly link them to the shootings, but still prosecutors are pushing to keep them in jail.
You know, that's crazy. Can you believe what you just heard? What makes the charges different? 2 men are accused of these charges that aren't necessarily linked to the murder, yet prosecutors still want to keep them in jail. Wow, that's crazy.
Normally, I don't detain people for possession of a controlled substance or for carrying a gun into a bar, and although I understand that there are some unique circumstances here.
A unique circumstance keeping Matthew Charles Jackson and Chris Garcia behind bars. The pair are appearing virtually in front of a judge for the first time since their arrest following the deadly Red River shooting. Investigators say the pair are members of the Bandidos. Police say members of the gang got into a shootout with another gang, the Water Dogs, on Saturday. 3 people killed, 5 others wounded. According to police records, Garcia was among the wounded. Police say he tried to pass a bag of cocaine to his wife in the hospital. Police arresting him for drug possession and tampering with evidence, not for charges directly connected to the shooting. State prosecutors did not file paperwork connecting either suspect to the shootout. Now they're asking the judge for more time.
We're working with several different agencies and to identify witnesses and additional evidence that may be presented at that hearing. So I'd ask that we have 10 days for a concurrent preliminary hearing and pretrial detention.
If I don't have a filed copy of that motion in my hand in 10 minutes, I'm going to proceed with first appearances on both cases.
And the judge was unable to hold Garcia's hearing. For some reason, officers removed both of them from their holding cells early. Right now, both remain in custody. On the other side, KOET, Action 7 News.
Jape Castillo, who is charged with murder in the shootings, was not in court today.
So the guy who was charged with murder wasn't in court today. And the 2 guys charged with unique circumstances are going to sit in jail perhaps another 10 days without any kind of bail because they were charged with unique circumstances. So one guy had a weapon that he took to a liquor store or bar or something. I've heard that he actually had a permit for that weapon, but there are some places where you can't go into a bar with a weapon or anywhere alcohol is sold, which would be something you would imagine that you could get bail for. But unusual circumstances, and you're going to be held. And I think that's absolutely freaking crazy. Um, but this is kind of what you go through, especially when the sheriff gets up and calls you gang about 50 times in 3 minutes in his thing. But none of your guys got arrested for the murder. It's a lot to go through. And why is everybody so mad? Well, it's tough. Here's a video we got from TMZ. And this video is interesting because it kind of shows what folks were going through at the time. Here's a lady that kind of got caught in the, around near the shooting.
Get out the way, get out the way, get out the way. Get out the way, get out the way, get out the way.
Hi, this is Natalie Sandoval reporting live. We are here in Red River, New Mexico, and there is reported that there was a shooting and 2 people are down.
So that's kind of what happens when, when you have these public outbursts. People can't even walk through the streets. People get upset. People are mad. The judge is mad. The police department's mad. And they take it out. They take it out on the club. Here is a video done by KOB4 out there in, I guess, Red River, New Mexico. And in this video, they go all about giving a history of the Bandidos. So they can't catch a break. They can't catch a break with law enforcement. They can't catch a break over in the courthouse. And they're getting nailed, murdered in the media. Okay, so let's check this out. Oh, where did we go?
Bandidos were at the center of this shootout this weekend in this small northern New Mexico town of Red River. 3 people died, 2 of them Bandidos, the other one a member of the Water Dogs. Felice Romero joins us now in studio with a closer look at the Bandidos. And Felice, they're no stranger to violence and not strangers to New Mexico.
Yeah, Ryan, the Bandidos have a presence in New Mexico for years, but were founded in Texas in the 60s. This shooting is just another one on the long list of shootouts that have made national headlines. Members of the Bandidos biker gang came in droves to the 41st annual Red River Memorial Day motorcycle rally. But it wasn't long before things took a turn for the worst Saturday afternoon.
Prior to this incident happening on Friday, we had gotten some information from Texas DPS, who had been following approximately 400 or 500 Bandidos from Texas to the Mexico state line, knowing that they were headed here.
A deadly shootout between the Bandidos and the Water Dogs closed down the small town of Red River.
All 8 individuals have been identified as outlaw motorcycle gangmen. The Bandidos, and the second one is a group called the Water Dogs.
This isn't the first time the notorious biker gang has been part of a deadly shooting. Back in April of 2006, 8 people were found dead with gunshot wounds inside cars on a farm in Toronto. Canadian police later arrested 5 people on murder charges. They say all of them were connected to the Bandidos. Almost 10 years later, in May of 2015, a shootout between the Bandidos and the Cossacks at a Twin Peaks in Waco, Texas, left 9 people dead and 18 injured. By 2015, the FBI, DEA, and Texas Department of Safety were already investigating the rivalry between the Bandidos and Cossacks. A year later, the federal government accused them of coordinating attacks on rival gangs and indicted them on racketeering charges. New Mexico has also prosecuted several cases against people affiliated with the Bandidos. In 2017, the FBI busted Bandidos members for drug trafficking, and just this past February, one member was arrested for murder that took place in Rio Rancho back in 2020.
We'll see where this one goes. Felice, thank you.
Now, when I say you can't catch a break, did you see that? This thing is listed as this thing is listed as violent history in New Mexico. and the violent history in New Mexico, right? And they go about naming all kinds of stuff all the way back to 2006. Bandidos violent history in New Mexico, and they start in 2006 in Canada. Is that crazy? So there's Canada, and then they go back to Texas,
a shootout between the Bandidos and the Cossacks.
and more
Dead and
Texas,
13 injured. By 2015, the FBI
and more Texas.
investigating.
I thought this was the Bandidos violent history in New Mexico. You get, I guess, one New Mexico story or two New Mexico stories, and this is that media nightmare that you can't beat. That's why you don't want to get in it, because it's absolutely it's a nightmare, one right after the other thing, and it is amazing. Whereas you don't hear anything about the water dogs, except for Insane Throttle had a story about the water dogs, as well as we did. We covered the story about the water dogs. And who are they? The only thing that's out there so far about their story is that they say that we're a motorcycle club now down to 6 people. They said they had 7 people after taking 3 bullets to the leg during the violent encounter. The confrontation with members of the Bandidos Motorcycle Club on Saturday. A New Mexico man who goes by the name of Shady called into the national YouTube podcast to give his side of the story, and that was Insane Throttle Biker News. First, Shady said the motorcycle club he started nearly a decade ago in New Mexico, named the Water Dogs, he said was not an outlaw gang. He says, I'm just a homegrown guy with 7 members in my club. He said of the group that's based in Albuquerque metro area. He said he wasn't a motorcycle club. He wasn't a riding club. He wasn't anything. He didn't even have any of that stuff on his vest. But he did have a 3-piece patch. Shady, who is the Water Dogs president, insisted the Bandidos were the aggressors and had attacked him in the past, all over now a 2-year-old photo posted on Facebook. The photo showed Shady with at least one member of a rival gang of the Bandidos. And that is allegedly the picture had him with a Mongols person. Police have released a few details of how the multiple shootings unfolded, other than to say 3 members of the motorcycles groups were killed and 5 were injured Saturday on the main streets of Red River. I think actually on Main Street. Those killed were Randy Sanchez of Albuquerque and a member of the Water Dogs, and Anthony Silva of Los Lunas, and Damian Bro of Socorro, both members of the Bandidos. After Sanchez's death, the local club is now down to 6 members, said Shady, who described Sanchez as his best friend. One of the 6 remaining members is facing murder charges after being arrested, along with 2 Bandidos who are facing drug and weapons charges. That was the last thing on my mind, to have any kind of altercation with them, Shady told the host of Insane Throttle Biker News on YouTube. I'm just finished fixing up. I was just finished fixing up my bike. I was trying to put it in a bike show at the rally. Instead, I got shot, and my best friend over 30 years got shot in the head and died. For my viewing audience, there's a picture of the Water Dogs colors there. And you can see a 3-piece patch with a city on the bottom, set up to look like a motorcycle club. The only thing it's missing is the MC. And if you weren't watching closely, you'd watch that ride pass, and you just know that there was a motorcycle club. And but they say no, that's not what we are. Shady, who said he had been in other motorcycle clubs in the past, said of his club's name, the water comes from the living water, which is Jesus Christ, and the dogs come from we're a bunch of filthy dogs trying to chase after the clean water. He told the podcast audience he had several confrontations with the Bandidos recently, Last Saturday, Shady said several of his members and their wives were walking down Main Street in Red River when some of the wives wanted to go into some of the vendors' tents. Two banditos approached two of his club members, and he called his men over, telling them, "You don't need to be talking to those guys." And that's when he said things got rough. All of a sudden, he said, 8 other banditos came at him, tried to circle him, and struck him from the right and the left. They bum rushed me, Shady said, and knocked 3 of my teeth out. The next thing I know, I was on the ground with these guys, 2 on top of me, and they were trying to beat me up. I was just trying to fight my way out from underneath there. I was just trying to stay alive, he said. He heard gunshots that started popping off in every which direction. Everybody was shooting back and forth until it was over with. It wasn't clear at what point in the gun battle he was shot in the leg, which was multiple times. Shady said he was released from the New Mexico hospital Monday, which he said had been on alert for possible retaliation. He also said that he thought that the ambulance was chased when he was in it, and he thought that gunshots were fired at the ambulance, although that hasn't been reported in any other news media. And if that were the case, I'm sure it would be everywhere. He said he was put in the cab, and the cab drove him home, which he thought was kind of crappy because he felt his life was in jeopardy, and they just put him in a cab and sent him home. But he didn't identify where he lives or go by or identify his real name. He said what started the bloodbath was a photograph someone posted on Facebook of Shady at a friend's wedding as he was talking to 3 other men At least one of those 3 men belonged to the Mongols, a major rival of the Bandidos. The Mongols in recent years have been trying to move into New Mexico, according to federal criminal records, a state where the Bandidos have traditionally dominated. So, yeah, it is alleged that because he took this wedding photo with a couple guys he said he was just having a beer with, that this is what started all this. And they make it so simple. But if you're in the biker club world, you know good and darn well that there was more to it than this. There was more to it. They felt like for some reason the water dogs were beholding to the other side. Maybe they were doing a bunch of fence riding. Maybe they were, you can be doing a lot of things, running around looking like a duck and quacking like a duck to bring those eyeballs on yourself. But this doesn't really work like that. Like one picture, it could certainly be a catalyst, but there was more going on. There had to be a lot more going on. As they said, this has been going on over 2 years. So keep that in mind. You got to hear both sides of the story. We can't be like the news and the police and just jump on one side. If we're in the biker life, we got to hear both sides. He said that court documents describe both the Bandidos and Mongols as outlaw motorcycle gangs. They have been involved in violent and illegal activities across the country. However, the water dogs themselves have not been on federal law enforcement's radar at all. He said since the photo appeared on Facebook, he said that I've been over frontwards and backwards and sideways trying to explain it to them, the Bandidos, that the picture is not what they think it is with the Mongols. He also said he was 48 years old and 100% totally disabled. He said we were standing there drinking beer. He said of the wedding photo, it's not like we were collaborating or trying to get anything over on these guys. What he was trying to say is it's not like we were collaborating with the Bandidos and trying to get something over, or collaborating with the Mongols rather, and trying to get something over on the Bandidos. That's not what we were doing. We were just some guys standing there taking a picture, is how he described it. He also said that he didn't know whether he was going to be criminally charged or not. He recalled how his club had saved up some money last fall to ride up the California coast and back, and he said that was his idea of a good time. The podcast co-host and host of Insane Throttle Biker News, James Hollywood Massacari, told the Journal in a phone interview Tuesday that he felt like things might be calm now because everybody's watching in terms of law enforcement. But he said that he didn't feel like it would stay that way because folks have lost people. So he said, I've been in this life for 30 years and knowing how things react, yeah, it's not going to be over. So these are some of the things. But listen, I tell you, we got to wait for, there's going to be more stories come out. Later on today, the more we know, the more we'll see. And, you know, for you guys that a lot of times you think, well, I didn't put an MC on my back. But you're walking around where MCs walk. You're marching around where MCs march. You're hanging out where MCs are. And you're set up administratively like an MC. You got a road captain, a sergeant at arms, a secretary, a treasurer, a president. You're running around in formation. You walk in you're doing all these MC things. And then you want to say, I'm a Christian motorcycle club or whatever. Well, I'm here to tell you, every kind of bike club in the bike set is held to the same standards in terms of getting started and following MC protocol, especially if you're going to be hanging out where those guys are. There's no free passes. None whatsoever. And you can't, like, jump behind I'm an RC or dodge behind I'm a Christian motorcycle club, and it just doesn't work that way. You will find out. You will mess around and find out. And even if you're completely innocent, you have to understand how this biker club, crazy, silly cult works. Just like if you were going to go be a Moonie or something, you better know how it works, because you can find yourself in a situation where it's not happy for you. So this is kind of what these folks are going through, and it really sucks because they ain't fixing to come out on the Bandido side. They're not fixing to come out on the news and talk. They don't talk to us publicly. Now, a lot of these clubs will call us behind the scenes and get us straight, tell us stuff, but they're not typically going to come on publicly and defend themselves. So they're going to catch it on all ends, which is what's happening to them right now. But there's more to this story than a damn picture. I just have to believe that. And I think we're going to find that out. I think as time goes on, we're going to find that out. It's more than just a picture. There was something going on, something that made these guys a target. But I want to end my show tonight with, or early this morning, as it were. I want to end my show with an interesting perspective. And that is the perspective of El Buffalo. He has a YouTube channel called El Buffalo. And it is a very interesting look at what he felt like we should be looking at. And we kind of lost that because it was Memorial Day. It was supposed to be for veterans like myself to commemorate the lives and the loss of our war dead. It should have been to actually thank our war heroes for their valiant contributions. I can't even put my hat on right. This was supposed to be our day. And instead, it was taken up with a bunch of balderdash, a bunch of people who shouldn't have been talked about that day. And El Buffalo did a video, and I want you to go over to his channel, El Buffalo, on YouTube. check it out because it doesn't have nearly the views it's supposed to have. It's got like maybe 1,000 views or something. 1,100 views. And what he wanted to do and what he started out doing, because I think he took his wife and children, and what he started out doing was just documenting, as a motovlogger, the great time that and the beautiful place that this was and the great time. And I think he left before the actual trouble started. But this is what we should have been talking about.
Pay our respects at the Veterans Memorial. You know, this is a great weekend, and a lot of times we forget the reason. I never served in the armed forces, but I have lots of friends who did, and this is a solemn time for them. So take a moment to find you a veteran and give them a hug and tell them you love them, because this is the day they remember their fallen brethren. This is the day we remember it. So get past the rallies, the motorcycles, the mattress sales, all that stuff that happens during Memorial Weekend, and take a moment to remember our vets, and not only our vets that are still alive, but the vets that paid the ultimate price. So remember that. God bless them. Continue to pray for our vets. Tell them you love them.
Man, so touching, so emotional, so real. And look at all those bikes that showed up at this Veterans Memorial. If I remember what I read about this, I believe this is a memorial that was a man of some means lost a son, and he built a memorial for him and other veterans. And I think that's what this place is. And it is. Look at all those bikes. It's beautiful. I won't steal his video. I think you guys should go over and check it out. But he did get to the event after he spent some time here at the memorial, and he shows a lot of stuff that this memorial is absolutely beautiful. And I think that's kind of what Red River symbolizes, especially on Memorial Day, and these bricks for the people who lost their lives, 1960 to 1980, 1967 to 1971. Just, oh my goodness, very touching. And then he went down into the town and showed that all the bikes and everything. And that's what this was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a fun, glory-filled time to thank the people who had given and celebrate their lives and their contributions and what it's like to be in America and be free. If you've been places like a lot of us military guys have where it ain't free, boy, you can, with all our flaws here in the good old United States, man, this is probably one of the best places on earth that you could live. There may be a couple places some folks consider better, but not many on the grand scale of things. So, man, the people who passed away to make sure that we had this, they should have been honored and respected. And no motorcycle club should have dared to tread on our sacred day. And that's a lot of reasons why these clubs are catching hell, because they don't seem to care or think these things through. And here we are, and there they are being called gang, and so forth and so on. Don't get mad when you bring it on yourself. Anyway, That's my 2 cents. Love to hear your 2 cents down in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow us. I'll be back in the morning sometime to bring you guys more news and information. Black Dragon Biker News, the Black Dragon Biker News Network, Biker News you can trust. Thanks for tuning in, y'all, and get skinny. Prepare yourself to take the helm as president of your mighty motorcycle club by delving into the pages of Black Dragon's newest book, The President's Bible, Chronicle 1, Principles of Motorcycle Club Leadership. There you will learn to advance your skills in applying the 14 scientific principles of leadership similar to those taught to officers in the United States Naval Service. Available in hardcover, paperback, and ebook. Get yours today on Amazon, Kindle, or order it at your local bookstore. Order your autographed copy from blackdragonsgear.com. Be the best motorcycle club president you can be. Get the book.
Get Black Dragon's first book, The Prospect's Bible, to learn how to join a motorcycle club. It has been an Amazon #1 bestseller for the past 7 years and is required reading for over 3,000 motorcycle clubs worldwide. This book is a must-have for new people venturing onto the motorcycle club set. It will teach you how to prepare yourself for service to the motorcycle club nation and show you how to qualify a motorcycle club to be worthy of your service. Available on Amazon, Kindle, and for order at your local bookstore. Get your autographed copy at blackdragonsgear.com. Be the best motorcycle club prospect you can be. Get the book.